So my brother asked me a great question today. He said, Aaron, is physical therapy school really that much? Because I was telling him, like, this is what I say about student debt. He's like, what? Is physical therapy school really that much? And I was like, yeah. So it is. And he was like, are people still really in debt? So my brother's a clinical psychotherapist. He's a licensed clinical social worker. He went to NYU for grad school. It's not a cheap school either. But he didn't know and didn't see this as a problem in his profession. We were talking about this, eating burgers. And so I was telling him, like, yeah, people are really in debt. Or maybe they're not really in debt and they're just using debt as an excuse. But when I was in PT school, I went to Elon in 2006 and tuition was about $2,100. So I took out the maximum federal student loan I could, $18,500 a year. I did that, and I was also, so I knew that that would cover most of my tuition, but I was also working. So I was a massage therapist, so I was working 4 hours a day on Wednesdays and 4 hours a day on Saturdays. So seeing patients, so still making about $500 to $600 a week, which isn't a full-time career, but it was enough to, make a dent and pay the bills. At least, I didn't have to take out private loans for my living expenses and my housing, and I didn't have kids at the time, so my wife was also working full-time. So, yeah, people are still in debt. And the way I want you to start thinking about your student debt is it's not a burden. Your student debt is absolutely not your burden. I didn't start paying it down significantly until this last year. And I'm 10 years in as a PT. I have 2 successful businesses. So I can have extra money to pay it down. But a federal student loan is an amazing loan to have because you can ring it up anytime and be like, hey, Miss Jessica in Iowa, with the student loan people, I can't pay this month. You can get a income-based repayment, graduated payment, and then you can even have some payment reduced. But if you want to start a business, you can't look at this as debt and as a burden. This is an opportunity that you have to leverage your time and your knowledge and your career to grow a bigger business, to make this thing an easier debt to pay off in the future rather than struggling to pay it off right now. Because as a business owner and entrepreneur, you have to start thinking about a return on investment. So that $85,000 or $100,000 or $250,000 that you paid to become a competent physical therapist, when you graduate, that's an amazing investment in your future as a provider and healer. And now you have to look at, okay, how am I going to invest in my business to grow it? And there's so many ways out there that you can work with someone who's doing the type of business that you want exactly, who's been there before, to invest that's going to give you a much higher return on your investment and not cost nearly as much as PT school. And PT school was the best investment you've ever made in becoming the best physical therapist that you can. So look at that from a different lens and start to then shift your mindset on what am I spending my money on, and is it an expense or isn't it an investment? And when I spend money here or when I spend money there, what's the return on that investment going to be? One of the best returns on my investment was going to PT school and investing in business coaches, but it's kind of like when I chose to buy a massage table. I bought one 20 years ago. I spent $950 on it as a massage therapist when I was in massage therapy school. I wasn't earning any money, and the guy said to me, look, you should get this one. It's the best one. It's the one that's going to last you a long time, and it's just 9 massages. You just think about that. It's after the 9th massage, you've paid for this thing. We're still using that table today 20 years later. I bought other tables. They were cheaper, $450, and it didn't last me a few years. The vinyl was horrible, etc. So start looking at things as, what's the return on my investment going to be? Because that's how entrepreneurs think. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to comment below or send me a direct message and let me know how you're thinking differently, what you're struggling with, and how you're going to start looking at that in a very different way and how that helps you out. Thanks.